Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to SevTech Ages. So since last episode, I have been doing a lot of preparatory work for crafting. I've also been working on adding, or I added in the rest of the floors on that upper section over there, you know, the black and the blue checkered floors on the opposite side of where we've been working. I got the rest of those floors put in, and after we record for just a little bit, I'm going to cut for a while. I'll probably do a little bit more building, and then I'm going to be working on our Tier 4 rocket ship. But before we can do that, we have to go get the schematic, as well as some materials that we're going to need to actually craft it. But before we start getting into some Galacticraft this episode, these chests right here, I've actually got a few chests set up, a few more than what we had. So over here, I've actually finished, you know, if you recall, there was a bunch of ingots up here at the top section, and that was the ones that we were crafting. I actually finished those. So we did complete our very first stack of ultimate ingots and got our first, well, technically it's 8 ultimate catalysts. I went ahead and crafted those up. I have 4 in here and then some leftover Galgadorian that I'm working with. And then right here I have 4 more of them. So we do have our first stack. Altogether you need 2 stacks. If you want to craft all the advancements, you know, that are required, you need 2 stacks of ultimate ingots. So I did finish the first stack. The second stack, I've actually got most of the materials here. I need to get a little bit more HOP graphite made. That's not a biggie. Soulforged steel, I need to make a little bit more of that. Insanium, I need to make a little bit more of that, and that's it. Oh, and Galgadorian, of course. So those 4. And I've got the Supremium ingots right here that we need. So most of the essence crafting is out of the way. And actually, before we continue on with that, I want to show you this really quick, because I was having to craft so much Soulforged steel, and my urns kept disappearing, so I did set up a really simple, temporary little automation thing. Block Placer places the clay blocks atop the turntable, and it runs, it breaks them down. Then right over here I have a builder, and this is set up with a filter module. If you take a look inside of here, unfired urns, whitelisted, damage must match, NBT must match, just to make sure that it's only getting those urns. And then I just have a clearing quarry card right there. Power cell, and then a chest. So you can see I've actually got a bunch of urns, which technically I'm going to go ahead and... It's actually a bit overkill. I ran like 4 stacks. I don't need nearly that many, but that's okay. I figured I'd make more, and then if I need more Soulforged steel, I'll have it available. So I'm just going to get this stuff running through our smelter. You know, that's all automated and everything over here. And I've actually got some Soulforged steel. I need to make more coal dust. That's fine. I'll get back on that here in a little bit. It's not really a big rush. It doesn't take that long to craft, honestly. It's just those urns were slowing me down. But anyways, if we take a look back in here, this is for the energy cube, which it's not all done yet. I've got the redstone singularities, the ultimate control circuits, the basic energy cubes, the energy batteries, the ultimate catalyst, the compressed obsidian, and the advanced power cells. And then right here I have 4 supremium furnaces, and these are going to be getting upgraded into ultimate furnaces once I get all the blocks of insanium that I need, which is quite a bit. I have enough there for 1 ultimate furnace. The rest of these materials are not a big deal, so I'm really just waiting on the insanium. So at the moment I have 5 essence. So I had like 200, and then before that, let's see, I used like 200 earlier, and then I used like 50 a little bit later on in the day, and then yesterday I used like 100. I mean, I went through a lot of insanium since last episode. Mainly crafting the ingots. I mean, those things eat through insanium like crazy fast. And then, of course, the blocks, and I can't even recall what else. And then in this back chest here, we have, that's everything that we need for our creative modifier. So, great stuff. I'm going to go ahead and just grab all this stuff out. And then we just have to get all this laid out, which it's not too involved, really, to lay out. It's mainly just these casts that run all around the sides of this. It was actually a very cheap recipe to get everything together for. I mean, it's not super expensive. None of this stuff in here is really expensive. for this craft. I mean, the singularity is probably the most expensive part, but even those weren't really that bad. But this craft here will not be shapeless. So we do have to make sure that everything fits into the right spots. Mending moss goes there. Shards of Oblivion. And there we go. Our very first creative item. Not something that we're really going to use because we don't use Tinker's tools. I mean, I guess I could switch, and if we did a bunch of these creative modifiers, make a sword, maybe it comes out to be stronger, but it doesn't really matter. You know, I don't really need Tinker's tools at all. Alright, so there we go, and advancement, we just got 200 prestige points, and the creative modifier. And that goes with our other 200 prestige points that we got forever ago. I think it was back in here, right, for killing Baycock? I believe that's what it was. So anyways, our very first creative item. And after we finish the series, we'll take a look. I think the prestige system has been implemented now. So we'll take a look and see what all we can purchase with our prestige points. But anyways, we're going to take this and we're going to toss it into our storage system. Dun, dun, dun. No standing on ceremony here. We got our creative modifier. That's great. We're going to put it away. The rest of these we will be using, I guess. This one, not so much. This one, maybe not so much. This one we'll use, and this one we'll use. These other two, I guess it doesn't really matter. But luckily, these two are probably going to be the next two that we craft. This one and then this one. Because we're actually not too far from either of those. Well, kind of this one. We have to get up to tier 8 rocket. But anyways, over here in this chest, I have prepped up an entire tier 6 nanobot system. So let's grab all of this stuff. And one thing to note, if you take a look at the nanobots, for the tier 6 nanobot, you only have to get a structure frame of tier 5. It doesn't actually require the tier 6 structure frame. So just a heads up. I mean, the rest of the stuff, well, not all the stuff, but most of the stuff does require the tier 6. This one does not. I went ahead and crafted tier 6 because it's nether stars and I have lots of them. If we take a look here at our nether stars, we have 3.6 thousand of them. And you want to see something funny? We have 342 dragon eggs. Ender dragon eggs. The reason being, I want to pop over and show you that. I went ahead and just set these up because why not? In the event that maybe we need a dragon egg or something, we've got them. But we have like tons of every resource. Why not add dragon eggs to that? So over here I added a couple additional crops. I added nether star seeds from Mystical Aggreditions, nether star crux as the soil type. You can actually see this stuff. If you look in JEI, shows the nether star seeds. You can see what block you need right there. Nether star crux to create the nether star essence. And then over here, the dragon eggs on dragon egg crux. So this is where a little bit more of my supremium went. Or insanium, I mean. A little bit of it went to this. And then over here, another really awesome tidbit of information. I did not realize the tier 6 inferium seeds because, like, if you take a look, they don't show up in JEI. It doesn't show it taking a special soil type. So I just assumed, of course, last episode they didn't work, so I was like, well, maybe they don't work. They do work, but you need insanium essence. And that was something else that was brought up by Nicholas in the comments on the last episode. So really awesome. Thank you for the heads up there. Because I just given up on these seeds. So I do have, if you take a look in here, I do have, I don't need that, the tier 5 seeds. I could build out 5 more, but I just don't need the essence. Because, like, I'm almost, okay, like, yeah, I still need essence, but I'm almost through all of the insanium ingots that we need for the ultimate ingots. I'm not going to be too far off from finishing the ultimate furnaces. The only other thing is a little bit of supremium armor here and there. And then a couple little things like that. But for the most part, we are about done with essence farming. And then another really awesome thing that was brought up by Florian Cast in the comments on last episode. I don't know when this was added. It was sometime, I think it was after 1.10, sometime in RF Tools history. It was added. But if you take a look right here, there is a new option here. There used to just be input and external. So you could have the crafting stuff go either to here or to there. But now there is external C. And what that is the results of the craft are going to go here. But stuff like buckets, or in this case master infusion crystals, are going to stay in the input buffer. So now you don't actually have to have the infusion crystal get piped back into it. It can just stay in here and it can craft with it. So it does speed up the whole process by quite a bit, and everything runs a little bit smoother now. So really awesome, and thank you for the heads up on that as well, because that's a semi-newish feature. I don't recall it. I know it wasn't in 1.7. I don't recall it in 1.10. Maybe it's a 1.12 feature. I don't know. I'm not too worried about when it came out, but it is a newer addition, and it's awesome because it's very useful for things like that. So anyways, let's pop up here, and we are going to set up our nanobots. And I have done a bit of testing in my test world and playing around, checking to see, just to make sure that this worked as well as I wanted it to. And it does in fact work as well as I wanted it to. What we're going to do, let's build out our nanobots. Let's find the exact center of this. Okay, that works out. That's perfect. And we're going to build out the structure. It's a 15 by 8 by 15. So we're going to come up, there we go. And we're going to put our nanobot beacon right there on the top. I decided we're going to put the nanobots in this segment of the tower because we kind of got the space and I don't really have anything else. We're starting to run out of stuff. Like this area over here, I mean, there's a huge chunks of the castle that we're just not going to have any real need for all that space. So like this area right here, I don't know what I'm going to put in all of it, honestly, because we're getting like really close to the pack. Okay, so we basically, with the nanobots, with the tier 6 nanobots, you have 24 modifiers that you can put in. If you take a look here, there's 24 null modifiers, and that's null modifier or any upgraded modifier that controller uses. Just like over with the void miners, we use speed upgrades. With the solar panels, we use piezo modifiers. For this, we have a wide variety of different modifiers that we're going to be using. So a lot of these I have 4 of. This is actually, in a lot of cases, it's overkill, but that's fine. I like overkill. So we have Regen 4, and each additional modifier raises the tier of it. So with a tier 6 nanobot, you can do up to Regen 4. Now I think as you tier it up, like if you had like a tier 1 nanobot, it has 4 null modifiers. I don't think you can get, unless it's been changed, you can't get Regen 4 just by sticking 4 regen modifiers into a tier 1. Because as you tier up the nanobot, it can accept higher upgrades of each effect. And then some upgrades, I don't think Creative Flight is even unlocked in a tier 1 nanobot. I think you actually have to tier it up. I could be wrong, but I recall that being how it was. I usually just go straight for the top tier for the most part, but back when it first came out, if I recall, that's how it was. But anyways, I've got 4 regen modifiers, which is going to give us Regen 4, which is, honestly, it's probably overkill, but it's nice overkill to have, because if something hits us really hard, we regenerate from it super fast. I also have Strength 4, so we're going to do a lot more damage. I have Resistance 4, which we're going to take a lot less damage. I have a Health Boost 4, which is going to give us close to 20 hearts, and then, like, even without our nutrition, we're going to have a lot of extra health. I think it's 2 or 2.5 hearts per modifier. And in most cases, 4 is the maximum. I haven't seen anything that you can go above 4, so just a heads up. And then I have 4 fire resistance modifiers, which seems to be overkill, because I noticed even at like 3 fire resist, and actually at 2 fire resist, I wasn't taking like any fire damage from standing in lava. I think just 1 actually might be enough, but I'm going to put 4 in there just in case there's some enemy that does like super, oh my gosh, fire damage, and just because I don't really have any need for, like, honestly, I wanted regen, I wanted strength, I wanted resistance, I kind of wanted health boost, and then I wanted saturation, and the rest of these were just kind of like, yeah, whatever, we'll stick that in there. So there was only a couple that I needed at this point. And then I've got right here a jump boost modifier, just because we can jump a little bit higher. Saturation, you can actually take it up to saturation 4 if you so desire, but there's no real point in it, because saturation, just tier 1, it's going to keep you max saturation all the time. Then I've also got water breathing, and I have night vision. So there are some additional modifiers, like, of course, Creative Flight I mentioned. There's some that are not implemented at the moment, like absorption is a modifier, but you can see clicking on it, it's not craftable at the moment. There is glowing modifiers, luck modifiers, but But I just don't have a point in all of that. So I'm pretty happy with the ones I got. And then we'll just hold right click and we'll build this thing out. Now I will say that this thing uses a very minute amount of energy, which is strange because I recall in the past, like in 1.10, I recall this thing actually being not really an energy hog per se, but still using a few thousand RF per tick. This thing, I could have ran this back in H3 without any issues at all. I mean, you can have a tier 1 solar panel and pretty much almost run this thing like 24/7. Okay, so we fully built it out. You can see that it uses 1,536 RF per tick, which is minuscule. And it has pretty much filled up this entire room. Wow, okay. We can barely walk around it here. This floor is probably just going to be decorative glass walls and then an elevator that comes up through it, honestly. And then I'm going to, let's see, underneath this. Yes, it's hollow. Great. We're going to take our advanced power cell. We're going to set this down. This should be pretty straightforward at this point. We're going to throw in our linking card, and there we go. This should be ready to run. We'll throw down our structure frame, and we'll give it just a second. And there we go. You can see our hearts are like shooting up at the moment, and we are up to our very first half yellow heart. 20.5 hearts. We have night vision by default. I'm actually just going to take this, maybe take, I don't know. I'll leave it on for right now. It's like bouncing between night visions. We have jump boost, water breathing, strength 4, resistance 4, regeneration 4, fire resistance 4, saturation, health boost 4. A little bit crazy. Plus, we're fully saturated all the time. The health regen with this is insane. The damage reduction with this is insane. And that is how we are actually going to start going into space. Because upgrading our armor and everything through the tiers, it gets expensive. We are going to have to make a tier 4 armor set because there is an advancement for that. However, we don't actually have to wear our spacesuits anymore. And I did do some testing, and I went to, in my test world, I went to Venus. Which Venus, I got to looking, we don't even need to go to Venus for anything. There is nothing on Venus that we even need. And the only blueprint there is a Venus rover. So we might go there possibly at some point, but not today. I'm not too worried about Venus. But I went there, and it does eat through armor. It's not as crazy as it sounded whenever people were explaining it. The tier 2 armor lasted for about 5 minutes, roughly. I might be a little bit generous there. It might be more like 3 or 4 minutes without any enchantments on it. Now, if you're stuck on breaking on there, it would last a little bit longer, but it did get diminished like pretty quickly. And a lot of the problem with, if you take a look at like Venus, you can see it has a corrosive atmosphere. Okay, that's what causes the damage to your armor. Now, I have noticed that none of the planets really seem to have any radiation. I know radiation was a new thing with like extra planets where you have like radiation, you have to like take care of it and like eat and stuff. But I haven't seen any planets with anything above a 0% radiation level. It's possible it may just not be implemented at the moment. But Venus, that corrosive atmosphere, that is actually some of the later planets. Mercury doesn't have it. I think Saturn has it, yeah. Saturn has it, and what corrosive atmosphere does is it will steadily just break down any armor that you're wearing. Which is kind of a bummer. I really don't like that because, like, it's not like a little bit of damage occasionally. It's like a lot of damage. And you're talking that armor gets ripped apart in a matter of minutes. You put on breaking 3, you can boost it up to about 10 minutes, but you're not able to stay there very long with any armor on. And with the extra planets feature, where you have to wear armor, you're going into space with this like fairly expensive armor, and then it just breaks down if you're not careful and you don't warp back home like, you know, pretty quickly. So I'm going to just avoid all of that, not even mess with that, and we are going to start space exploration with no armor whatsoever. We're just gonna go. I'm gonna take this off, and we're just gonna go with our oxygen stuff and just rock it because we just don't need it. We really don't need it with regen 4. And saturation and resistance, it's not needed at all. But for right now, we're going to be launching to Mercury. Now, Mercury does not have a corrosive atmosphere, so I'm just going to keep on our armor, this armor, because it doesn't hurt, you know, to wear it. We've got oxygen. We should be ready to go, it looks like. We've got our thermal So let's go ahead and launch the ship. Alright, we are off to space now. And this should be the last time launching the Tier 3, I guess. Well, I mean, we may, like I said, we may end up going to Venus just to be like, oh look, it's Venus. Just at present, I have no real use for it. Like, there's nothing special about Venus. It's green, and there's a lot of lightning, and then it rains like acid. But aside from that, there are apparently dungeons there because you can get a Venus rover. I will say the terrain is not quite friendly for a rover, I don't feel like, but there is a rover for Venus. So anyways, we are descending onto Mercury. And of course, I'm not wearing the spacesuit. Once we get to the surface, we will start. Oh, whoops! I just exploded I came in way too fast. I was not slowing down properly. That's what happens whenever you hit the ground. Now, normally you will probably die from that. But, and actually this might not. Yeah, this is all taking damage. Okay, I'm going to take all this stuff off then. Which I guess here I could wear, because we don't have the corrosive atmosphere here. So I guess I could wear our Tier 1 spacesuit, like just for the sake of it, so we're not taking those like damage ticks the whole time. That also means we lost our Tier 3 rocket. It's been destroyed. I may rebuild it at some point just for our rocket area. I was like, oh look, it's the planet. I wasn't even paying attention to like how fast we were coming in. Alright, no spawners in range. So Mercury, we're going to be looking for 3 things. We're going to be looking for... let me actually grab a link crystal here. So we can go ahead and set up our linking. Tool workstation. Link crystal for Mercury. And we'll drop that into there. There we go. That way we can come back here. Mercury, there's going to be 3 things that we're looking for. We're going to be looking for Mercury ore. We're going to be looking for carbon and... Oh, come on. And I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go find a dungeon and then we'll mine from the dungeon. But we're going to be looking for Mercury ore, carbon ore, and also blueprint. So that's the 3 things that we're going to be looking for. Now also on, I believe it's Mercury that I saw these. I think there's like big mounds of like... Oh, but we're like down near bedrock here. This is a lot different than where I landed on Mercury before. This place is like big mountains. And we're like, it goes like all the way down to bedrock. And the place I landed before was a little bit more flat. It looks like over this little mountain here. Maybe? No, maybe not. Maybe over on this side. Something on the map is yellow. Oh, that's just some kind of a liquid. It's infected water. Okay, yeah, it was on this planet. I just found one. And there's actually one right over there. These are solid meteoric iron blocks. And they're fairly large. So we could have came here instead of the asteroids to get solid meteoric iron in mass. I mean, look at that. But, of course, now we have the... and really, we could have sooner gotten the seeds up and going. So, you know, you can get it here, and you can get a lot of it here, like in one go. There's also blocks of dash here as well. So you can get those here as well. But we have seeds going for them. Now, I will say that the later, you know, past dash, we actually cannot get seeds for any of the materials. So we're actually going to have to mine large amounts of the mercury, the carbon, and then, you know, the later materials. So, yeah, see, there's another meteoric iron. This is still a whole lot different. The one where I landed in my test world, it was a little bit more flat than this is, but not a big deal. I'm just trying to find a spawner at the moment. Oh, I think I found one off in this direction somewheres. There we go. Okay. So over here somewhere there's a spawner. That's great. And I love how these mobs are like really trying to like hurt me, but they can't. Aha! That looks like a dungeon right down there. It's a little bit unorthodox the way that we're getting to it, but we'll take it. Alright, so let's pop in here. Mercury is very yellow. Very yellowish. Let me grab my sigil of holding. And let's do this. What do we got here? Nothing that I want. This looks like the boss room, yeah. Okay, so right here we have the evolved Magma Cube boss. And this guy is actually pretty easy. We just have to go in and just beat him to death. And we have like strength, like mega boosted strength, and a really good sword. So he's no challenge. No challenge at all, especially with our new... I mean, he does do a lot of damage. But no challenge with our, like, boosted, like, saturation and everything that we've got. Ah! And he gives a little bit of XP that doesn't even compare to our XP level. And we got our tier 4 dungeon key. Alright, so let's go get our schematic. And I think that's the only schematic that can come from here. So... no, we didn't get one. We got a Geiger counter. Right-click to see your current radiation level. Okay. We got unlucky. And it looks like I am taking... oh, he destroyed my armor. Okay. Current radiation level, though, is 0. Alright. So we're going to have to go find yet another dungeon. Awesome. Just what I always wanted, just to have to go find another dungeon. That's great. That's probably why he actually started doing damage to me there at the end. I don't think the tier 1 suit was holding up against him all that well. But that's fine. I mean, you could see even when he did start dealing damage to me, well, I guess when my armor broke, it wasn't enough damage to actually matter. So... okay, I ended up having to actually cheat in the tier 4 rocket schematic. That is simply due to the fact, I mean, I killed the boss the first time. We know that I can kill it again. But for some reason, whenever I go out exploring here, every minute, 2 minutes, it crashes the server. So, and I know Isa Dwarf said that she lost a pair of boots on one of the crashes. But I'm basically crashing the server by exploring on Mercury for some reason. So, I just cheated that in. I mean, I killed the boss the first time, so I feel like it's okay. Just to prevent the crashes. But anyways, here's the first ore that we're looking for, the carbon ore. And so we're going to go ahead and just grab that. So there's 2 of those. I'm going to need quite a bit. I'm actually going to spend a little bit of time on Mercury mining. Because if we want to make our rocket schematic, the tier 4 rocket, we are going to need heavy-duty tier 4 plates, which require compressed carbon, 4 compressed mercury per plate. So I'm going to need a bunch of carbon, I'm going to need a bunch of mercury. Carbon, you get 2 per, and then mercury, you get, it's 2 per plate, and 2 per plate on the carbon, so, I mean, I'm going to need a bunch of this stuff. And then mercury, you get 2 per with each mercury ore. So, and it's possible, actually, let me check. If we take a look at mercury, take a look at the, okay, we can't craft the carbon ore, and we can't craft the mercury ore. Okay. I wasn't sure if there was something that we could do with maybe Astral, set that up for some kind of automation, but no, doesn't seem like it. But we can always vein mine, so there we go. There's our first bits of mercury ore. So let's go ahead and grab that. 5 pieces. And I have to do just a bunch of mining at this point. Like a bunch of mining. It's not going to take too long with Vein Miner. Okay, I decided that we're going to go ahead and actually set up a quarry. Because I mined on Mercury for a little bit, and I processed it, and I only had enough for... I mean, I have a little bit left over, but I really only had enough for like 32 heavy-duty plates. And, I mean, it's mainly the Mercury. And then, of course, we're going to have to make additional tiers of rockets as we go. It's possible that we might find blocks of Mercury, you know, in the later planets. I'm not for sure, but we might as well go ahead and set this quarry up, because these costs are going to get crazy. They're definitely going to get crazy. So we're going to put an input routing node here. I put a black ender chest down with a diamond lock. And then let's just go ahead and bind this over to this output routing node. Connect that up. So everything coming into this ender chest is going to go here. And I went ahead and slotted and upgraded a drawer here for mercury ore and carbon ore. And then of course we can move this as we go through the different planets and make the whole mining process. From here on out it's going to be simple. The only thing is you can only process this stuff using the arc furnace, which is fine. I mean, we've got 2 arc furnaces, but just a heads up on that. So I may set it up for automatic processing within our one processing room. By the way, I noticed when I was mining, it doesn't seem to crash when I'm just like hanging out, mining and stuff like that. But whenever I was out exploring, looking for dungeons, it just kept crashing. Crashed like 5 times in the process of that. So anyways, we're going to set up our builder right here. Let's go ahead and mark it as builder. Got to keep an eye out for creepers, space creepers. And then we'll go ahead and set up our ender chest, diamond lock. That'll connect over. Oh, I am going to need a weirding gadget. I'm going to have to pop over. I don't think I have. Yeah, I'm going to have to pop over and make one of those. That's fine. I'll do that in just a second. But let's put our lever down. I did go ahead and set this filter module up. So what I did, this is the one that we were using for the urns. If you open this up, it's set up the exact same over here, but I've got mercury ore and carbon ore in this, because I don't actually need it for the urns anymore. We'll grab our clearing quarry. Let's see, let's go from like right, well, let me right click this. Let me right click like here. And then we're going to bring this out a ways. Because I only want to mine, the only thing I want to mine from this dimension is that carbon ore and that mercury ore. I don't care about any of the rest of it. I just want those 2. And I need lots of them. So we'll bring this out a little ways to, let's see, I'm going to top this mountain. We're going to bring it out to like right in here. I think that's going to be plenty of space, and then if I need more mercury and carbon, I can go get it. But I mean, the density of the ores is actually pretty decent. It's just going down there and mining, you know, it doesn't actually take that long with Vein Miner, but with the amount of metals that we're actually going to need, I think it's best that we go ahead and actually set up a quarry for this. So let's get back over there. And then we're going to have to configure this Quarry Card real quick, which is fine. It's simple to do. So shift right click, and we're going to say box solid dimensions. We're going to say the second slot here, this is the Y level. We're going to say 200. So it's going to go, you know, it's 200 Y level. And it's like, I guess, plotting stuff out. Then the offset, we're going to say negative 100. And that's going to mean that it's going to go down 100 blocks and up 100 blocks from where we have it set. So, and that should be good. That should be good. So we'll just pop that into there. We're going to hit the redstone. And I do need to set up our advanced power cell as well. And this one's already configured and everything. So if we take a look here, it is currently clearing right now. There we go. There goes carbon. And it's going to get the carbon and the mercury only. It's going to send them over to our overworld and store them in the drawers. Now I just need to get a weirding gadget set up so that it keeps running, you know, when I'm not in the area. But it's going to be a whole lot faster. With the amount of mercury and carbon that I need, it's going to be a whole lot faster than manual mining. So I'm going to pop over. I'm going to go get a weirding gadget, and I'm going to keep this thing running. Build us up a nice amount of mercury. Build us up a nice amount of carbon. I'm going to process. Honestly, I think I have enough carbon processed to make like another 4 rocket ships or something. 4 or 5. But mercury is where I'm struggling with, because you need 4 per plate. You know, and it's just, that's 4 ore per plate, because you need 2 per mercury plate, and then you need 1 ore per 2. So yeah, it's 4 ores per plate. It's just, it gets expensive. It gets very, very expensive. So now if we take a look here at our like mercury, we have 23, carbon we have 24, and then I have to just get a weirding gadget made. So I'll be back here in a bit once I get, you know, the rocket ship made, a bit of building done, resources built up, all that good stuff. Okay, it has been a little while since I last cut. You know, whenever I set up the builder and everything, I have since pulled up the builder. I just went and did that. And I did recreate our tier 3 rocket, because I was going through making plates and I was like, might as well, because I have, you know, I've got infinite of everything needed to make tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 plates. So I figured I'd go ahead and make that just so our rocket ship area would be complete. And then I crafted our tier 4 rocket, and it is fueled, it's ready to go. And that's all set. So that's what the tier 4 rocket looks like. We're actually starting to move into the extra planets rockets now, which after the tier 4 one, I mean, they get progressively larger to the point where they're just massive ones. These do require a 5x5 Tier 2 rocket launch pad. So altogether there's 5 rockets that take that, and then we're going to have to get into Tier 3 rocket launch pads for like the last 2 tiers. So just a heads up, you do need a new launch pad for that. If you recall, I set these up quite a while ago, in fact. But anyways, I've been working on just windows and doing some detail work on that tower, and worked in that bottom section a little bit. Nothing too crazy. If you want to see how much Mercury and stuff that we have 40, almost 41 stacks of Mercury ore, 55.5 stacks of carbon ore, and then I've got 12 stacks of Mercury ingots, 34 carbon ingots, and then I've also got some plates upstairs. I've been working through the plates. I'm actually just kind of storing them here. So, and then I've got some more being made. I'm actually going to go ahead and get these tossed in, make another half stack of the Tier 4 plates, because we're going to need those here soon to upgrade another rocket, you know. Oh, and I need carbon as well. I actually need a little bit more carbon. That'll be fine for right now. Anyways, one thing that's interesting, I was actually looking at upgrading the modular machinery outputs, just so we had more slots, like the inputs and outputs. But if you take a look at the modular machines, okay, like we're using the small item input, small item output, which is only 4 slots. The normal, reinforced, big, huge, ludicrous, none of these are craftable within this pack. So that's awesome. That's really cool that none of these are craftable. So I guess you're just stuck with the small. I'm not for sure about like looks like the fluid. You have to use the small, tiny. You can make tiny and small fluid outputs, but you can't go any higher than that. And then you can make small and tiny of the energy stuff as well, just not the item. I don't know. No clue. But anyways, I guess we're ready to launch back into space. By the way, I did get enough essence to make... I've actually got like 24 left over. And I only need about 30. And we're going to be pretty much done with Insanium essence. Aside from... I know that we need a little bit to make... I think it's the Creative Jetpack. We need to make some Supremium chest plates. There might be some more like essence, you know, hidden away somewhere in one of these creative items. But we are just about done with the essence grind. So, I mean, most of this stuff is pretty straightforward. Didn't really notice too much essence for the other creative items that we need. So, probably by next episode we'll have enough essence. I mean, I'm going to leave it running, but we'll have enough essence that we're pretty much done with that. Okay, so we are going to be taking off to Jupiter. This is a Tier 4 planet, and there's also Ceres. Not really any reason for us to go to Ceres. What we need is actually on Jupiter. And Jupiter is, it does have a corrosive atmosphere on Jupiter. So I'm going to remove our armor. And let me just double check. I don't think the schematic is found on, yeah, okay, yeah, it's just found on Jupiter. So there's not really any reason for us to go to Ceres that comes to mind. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this stuff away. And we also need to upgrade our thermal padding, because you need the Tier 4 thermal padding for Jupiter and Saturn. So we're going to go ahead and just switch these out. And I actually just realized I forgot to fill my oxygen tanks. Of like all the things for me to forget to do, I forgot that. Give me just a second. Let me get these oxygen tanks filled up, and then we're going to take off. Okay, this second heavy one is filling up, but I do have others in here. So I'm just going to grab and do that, because I've got plenty of oxygen here. And honestly, we're probably not going to spend very long on the planet. We're not going to do much mining at all. I'm going to go down. I'm going to get like 1 palladium, which is the metal that we're going to be looking for. Like for right now, if we pull up Jupiter, you take a look here, there's red, oh yeah, there's red gems. Palladium, copper. Do we need red gem for anything? I mean, ultimate battery, that's fine. Red gems. Advanced fuel loaders. The red gem wafer has no use whatsoever. Just making space stations is all it's used for. Advanced fuel loader is used to make ultimate fuel loader, which is used for nothing. Okay, so we're not actually looking for red gem. I will probably still mine it, but I was just curious if we specifically needed that for anything. Okay, so let's do this. Here we go. And we're going to launch. We're going to hit Jupiter. We have to go find a dungeon. I mean, at this point, moving forward with Galactref, it's a really rinse and repeat. You launch to a planet, you go find a dungeon, you set up a quarry, mine the resources, you come back, you make the next tier rocket, you launch off again, you take a break at one point to make a little bit more thermal gear, But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. Now, I think... No, the next advancement is on Saturn. Okay. And I need to make sure that we don't actually blow up our spaceship this time around. I really don't want to break any more ships. Castle looks kind of cool from up here. Like the Earth is already turned into like a cube, and you can see the continents, but you can still see my castle, like because it's so massive. And by the way, all the higher tiers. I mean, I could launch to Mars on this ship, so you really only need like one rocket, whatever your highest tier is. Okay, so Jupiter. Let us launch to Jupiter, and I think Saturn. Yeah, Saturn is a tier 5. We will probably hit Saturn today, though, I think. Because, I mean, we're pretty much just going to, like, go through these planets pretty quick. Because, I mean, it's really as simple as do a dungeon, mine some more, do a dungeon, mine some more, do a dungeon, mine some more for the rest of Galacticraft. It's not a... it's very much a quantity, not quality type mod, sadly. Alright, I'm going to kind of keep us down. Like, I was trying to wait until we were about to hit the ground before I started dropping the velocity last time, and I forgot how slowly the velocity actually goes down. Now, Jupiter is somewhat of a dangerous planet because there's a lot of lightning. There's a lot of, like, hot liquid. Looks like we're going to land right smack dab in the middle of some nice hot liquid, which is great. Let's actually... Oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to land right here, apparently. And let's see. Let me... right into it. I'm sure glad I have like super regeneration. That's liquid magma. If you recall, if you watch Project Ozone, we actually use some of that for decorative purposes. So I'm going to grab that stuff, and we are off. I'm not going to set a... Well, let's see. Do I want to set... No, I don't actually want to set it right here. Let's actually climb around this mountain here. I'll tell you what. I've got super fire resist. We're just going to go for a swim. It looks like it's a village. It's one of those weirdly spawned villages. Okay, so I'm going to grab our link crystal first and foremost. And we're going to just right-click. There we go, Jupiter. And we're going to set that into there. And Jupiter is a little bit of a noisy planet, as you can tell. And then we're going to mine down. We're going to go see if we can get ourselves some palladium. Is the next thing that I want to do. Because before we go looking for a dungeon, I want to go ahead and get our miners up and going. Okay, that's iron ore, 10. Now, if you don't have like super fire resist and regen, digging straight down can be a bad idea on this planet because that liquid magma will spawn underground as well. Okay, we found palladium. So we're going to go ahead and snag that. A little bit of that. Basically just to set our filters is what we're going to be using it for. And then I also want to find red gem. Now red gem, at least in the past, it spawns pretty low down. Actually probably right in here would be good. So let me go ahead, find mine it. It tends to be kind of rare. It's kind of like diamonds for extra planets. There we go. Actually didn't take us very long. Okay, so we got our red gem ore, and I'm going to dump out all this stuff. I don't want it. And then we're just going to warp up to Jupiter. Or actually, before we warp to Jupiter, let's just warp to the RS system. And I'm going to go ahead and set filters on our drawers for our new ore types. So we'll take our palladium, dump it into there. And we'll take our red gem, dump it into there. And there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and just dump a couple upgrades into this. 1024 storage sounds good. And this stuff probably processes all the same way. Arc furnace for palladium. And crusher for red gem. Okay. But like I said, our uses for red gem are going to be little to none, it seems like. I mean, we can go with like the advanced fuel loader. It is a little bit faster, but the fact is we actually don't use the fuel loaders all that much. We use them one time per rocket for the most part, and then that's it. Oh, this is kind of trippy. Like, there's that like moon. And if I move around, that moon like jitters around. That one kind of does, I guess, but that one like it's just bouncing all over the place. Anyways, it may be an asteroid, I don't know, but anyhow, let's go ahead and set up our builder right here, and I'm going to go ahead and mark this as builder. And then let's see, our filter module, we're going to go ahead and toss in palladium. red gem, and we'll just add it to the list. So that way I can basically just take it to whatever planet I need resources on, and it'll be ready to go. There's that. Then we need the advanced power cell. That's all still set up. And then we just need the Quarry Card, and then we'll go see about finding ourselves a dungeon. So there to there, and then I just have to come out a ways. Okay, so we're going to go to like right here. There we go, and we're going to say box solid dimension 200 offset -100, and there we go. You can see it's checking the number of blocks that's going to be mining. Oh, it's so noisy in this place. And then we'll just drop this right into there, and there we go. It's going to start mining, and then we can just dump these into there. Let that go. Drop our weirding gadget down right there, and we should be set. Okay, so now we're off to find ourselves a dungeon. Let's do this. Alright, no spawners. Okay, I'm off on a... That meteor up there just bouncing around as I run. It's driving me insane. Okay, I just found this little structure here. Man, this is happening constant, by the way. Like, basically, and it was the same way with Mercury. This is about the 4th time that I've crashed on Jupiter. For some reason, the extra planets, if I start exploring, and it's not like I'm flying or running fast or anything. If I start exploring, it starts crashing consistently. And I don't know, I mean, I was actually standing there for a second looking at those structures, so we'll check them out whenever the server comes back up. Okay, so here's these structures. I've never seen these before. It's just kind of a bummer that this is crashing. And I'm pretty sure blocks of tin, blocks of aluminum. I'm pretty sure that it's tied to solid meteoric iron in the middle of them. And some TNT. Okay. Well, I don't need meteoric iron. Is that the... Yeah, it looks like that's what's in this one too. Just like a big solid thing of meteoric iron. But it's kind of a bummer that these keep crashing, because like I took these off because I was seeing if it was maybe tied to the amulets from the Between Lands, trying to trigger off of the damage or something. But I mean, it was crashing. It doesn't have anything to do with me not wearing armor, because on the last planet I wasn't wearing armor. Or I was wearing armor for the first little bit, and it was still crashing. It seems to be something to do with like chunk generation, because it's only when I'm exploring like and going into like new chunks and they're generating. And Jupiter seems to be worse than there we go again. See, Jupiter is worse than Mercury was. Mercury I could at least explore for a few minutes. Jupiter, it crashes just every couple minutes. If I mean, I literally, the server started up and I crossed the Magma Sea and that was it. Pew, crash. So I think what I'm going to have to do is, at least as far as Jupiter goes, I think I'm just going to have to cheat in the schematic again, because I can't keep crashing the server. I've already crashed the server like 6 times, and I haven't even explored very far. Like, it's so frustrating. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to have to cheat in the schematic, because I keep crashing the server, and I feel bad, because like other people are trying to play. If I recall, the main difference, you go and do another dungeon, you run through it, it's pretty much identical. And then there's, I think in Jupiter it was done so that there's an evolved fire boss, which you just beat up and then then you're done. But like, for some reason, generating chunks, like in that whole time, that's all I explored. I went up here and it crashed. I went over the top of this hill, it crashed. I went down to here, it crashed. I went over to here, it crashed. Then I came back along through here, and it seemed alright, like it wasn't crashing. I got over here to the that structure, like I came down right through here. That's where we landed. I came down right through here, and right there was those 2 structures. I stepped forward, it crashed. Crossed over this, it crashed. So, it's just, I don't know. It's just crashing just so much that it's, you know, I feel bad to the other people playing on the server, and it's just... It's unplayable. I can't even like travel 2 or 3 chunks before it crashes. Hopefully the other planets will be a bit better. I don't know. because right now this is pretty bad, to say the least. Like, it's so frustrating. I'm hoping maybe once we get to Saturn, it'll be like, okay, well now it's gonna work. But I'm not gonna have high hopes, because so far all the extra planets are just a crash fest. Like, I kept crashing Mercury. At least I managed to get to a dungeon in Mercury last night. Here I just can't. I can't even like make it to a dungeon because it just crashes so consistently. Oh, I need to fix this. I don't know. I don't recall anybody else having issues, but I mean, the last people that went into Galacticraft was like back when I was in like age 2 and 3. They were doing Galacticraft, so, and I mean, they didn't go all the way through. I think the farthest anybody went was like just far enough to get Mystical Agriculture started, because I think Faraday and Galahad did that, but I don't even know. I don't know. It's just so frustrating. I mean, for starters, it's not really even like a fun mod in the first place, but then it's just like a crash fest too, so it's just like, whatever, we're just gonna cheat it in. Basically, you go through a dungeon, it's a different color, and you fight a boss that you smack to death. We're unkillable, so it's not that exciting, I guess. Anyways, I'm going to work on our Tier 5 rocket, which for this we need Palladium, which we have. How much Palladium do we have at the moment? We have almost 5 stacks of Palladium, over a stack of red gems. So, but I'm going to need... Well, I've got about enough. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Give me one more Palladium, please. Well, it's connected to the system. I'm going to run like a stack of this through and make up some Tier 5 plates, and I'll be back here in a bit once I get the Tier 5 rocket made. And we'll go see if Saturn is as bugged as Jupiter was. Okay, here is our Tier 5 rocket. Dun, dun, dun. And then we just have to go get fueled up, and then we'll be ready to launch. And I'm really, really, really hoping that Saturn is not all bugged out too. I'm going to be rather upset if it is. Because I would like to actually, I mean, as you guys know, Extra Planets isn't my favorite thing in the world. Galacticraft in general. But I would really like for it to be functional. So that we could actually go through it. Because there are some changes, like those structures and stuff, that I would actually like to get to check out. But when it's crashing that often, it's just like, nope. No, I don't think I want to, because, I mean, it's not just crashing me out, it's crashing, like, the server, and the server's having to restart every time that it does that. Like, luckily, it's just crashing me to the main menu. So, I mean, I'm not having to reload the pack, but I'm having to just, like, AFK or, you know, play a game of Magic or something while I wait for the server to come back up. But we're up to a Tier 5 rocket. Tier 8 rocket boosters is what we need for the creative items. I don't know if we necessarily need... Oh, you know what I forgot to bring with me? A crystal. Whoops. Oh, that's fine. I'll just have to launch back here later. It's not a big deal. I also didn't bring the builder with me. I'm going to launch back here. It's not a big deal for me to launch back here. I'll launch back later. I'll get the builder and set it up. Get the crystal, set that up. You know, right now we just need to go get the ores. Is really all that we need, you know, specifically. But that's our rocket. See, we're starting to get into, like, the nicer looking rockets and everything. So they do get rather large by the time you get to the later ones. Oh, I don't know if you noticed, I'll show it to you before we end out the episode, but I did go ahead and just put a chest in a hopper feeding into our, you know, where we're making our compressed Extra Planets and Galacticraft plates, and then I've got them pumping into our refined storage system. So just kind of a simple little setup, but okay, yeah, so Neptune's going to be a Tier 7, but we're going to go to Saturn, and we do get an advancement for landing on Saturn. So we will actually we'll probably get 2 advancements. We'll get the one for landing on Saturn and the one for the Essence. I think we have to mine up like some surface rock for it to pop. That's no biggie. Okay, so we are landing. We are coming in for a landing. I need to be careful and not blow this up, because I do have to fly back here. I do actually have to make it back. And as long as your entry velocity is in the green, it's not going to explode. You just have to be careful. Don't blow your ship up like I did. Alright, so here we go. We are landing on Saturn. There we go. Come in for a soft landing. That's perfect. And can I, there we go. I was trying to get out of there. Alright, Tier 5 rocket and Tier 2 launch pad. Now this place does not have a corrosive, I don't think. It does have a corrosive atmosphere, never mind. So we're not going to be wearing armor. Let me pull this stuff off. And we'll put this into our inventory here. Okay, so we got Saturn surface rock. This is, I think, what is it that we need from here? Saturn surface rocks. Okay, it's probably these over here. I'm pretty sure these are the ones that I need. So, Saturn surface rock. There we go. We got the Rings of Saturn, Inferium Essence, and Prosperity Shard advancement. Look at that. Pow, pow, pow. And it looks like going to Neptune and crafting the Tier 4 spacesuit is the final advancements here for Galacticraft. And then we still have to do this. I've got to go to Mars and farm up a schematic. Not a big deal. I will say that, because Tier 4, you can craft it once you hit Neptune. So you don't actually technically have to go to the later planets, I guess. But we probably, I don't know if we will or not. Honestly, if it's going to be crashing all the time, I don't know for sure that I will. But anyways, on Saturn, we are looking for magnesium. And I believe that's all that we need. If we take a look at the Tier 6 rockets, this one requires, yeah, just magnesium. Okay. So 3 advancements. Woot. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can find some magnesium, because I am going to have to set up the filters. I'm going to set up the builder and come back here just off camera, because I'm basically just going to be farming up for, you know, another tier of rocket, basically. But with you guys, I want to check out the ore. Let's find our first piece, because that's kind of, I guess, exciting. It's about as exciting as it gets on these planets. And then hopefully we'll go find a dungeon. If it starts crashing the server, then I'm just going to have to cheat in the schematic, because I'm not going to put the server through that. I feel bad. And these planets aren't the most exciting thing in the world, I guess. But there we go. There is our first magnesium ore. I'm going to go ahead and grab this since it's right here. And once again, we're going to need a ton of this stuff, because it is 5 ingots per Tier 5 or Tier 6 plate. For the Tier 6 rocket. Okay, but I have lost where I came down at, so I'm going to have to dig myself back up. But I will say that the bosses that we aren't getting to do, that, you know, that we're having to skip because of the crashing, all the bosses within extra planets, it's kind of a bummer. They're basically just remade, you know, vanilla mobs. Basically, the fire bat is just a bat. And there's not any special mechanics. You know, the Galacticraft bosses, you know, they had that the wither skeleton that picked us up and would throw us, and it had the creeper that we had to like toss the projectiles back at, stuff like that. There's nothing special, at least there wasn't in the past. I mean, I know they had some new bosses, but I don't know that there's anything unique about them either. They're basically just tank and spank, more or less, like just hit them, beat them to death kind of a thing. There is also liquid here. This is a liquid glowstone. And I believe you can actually turn this back into glowstone, if I recall. The liquid glowstone, yeah, you can turn it with the basic densifier. You can turn it back into glowstone blocks. So, I don't really have any need for glowstone, but just a heads up, you can do that. So, fingers crossed that we don't crash the server. If it does start crashing, then... See? Literally, like 3 chunks out exploring, and it crashes. So I'll be back in a bit. We're just going to have to cheat in that schematic too. This is ridiculous. I don't know why extra planets... I mean, I haven't seen anybody else complaining about it, so I don't know if it's just our server, just, you know, certain situations. I don't know, maybe what I'm wearing or what I'm not wearing. Well, it doesn't have anything... I know it doesn't have anything to do with the armor, because I was wearing armor on Mercury when I first went there, and I was still crashing as I explored. So I know it doesn't have anything to do with that. I don't know if it... I mean, I've taken off my necklace. I don't know. I have no clue. I have no clue whatsoever. Okay, so, yeah, we're just going to have to cheat in the schematic. I'm not going to keep killing the server. It's basically just a mining simulator. Like, at this point, just go to a new planet, mine, cheat in the new schematic, and there you go. There's not anything else that I can really do about it. It has to do with me loading new chunks is what it is. Because it only happens when I go out exploring. Like, I can stand here. I could AFK here in space. You know, I could go to bed and be in space, and it would be fine. But as soon as I start like running around loading up new chunks, a few chunks in, it crashes every single time. And it's gotten progressively worse. Mercury wasn't as bad. These planets are horrible. So I guess we're just going to warp back. I mean, like I said, I'm going to have to come back here. I'm going to have to land again. Not a big deal. I've got my rocket. Fuel's basically free. Energy's free. So I'm going to have to come back up here, set up the builder, and, you know, set up a link crystal. But I don't know. I'm sorry. I wish we could explore the dungeons, but we can't. We just can't. Because I just can't. I kind of wish I would just land on top of a dungeon. Because then I could go down there and it would be fine. But I just can't explore to go find a dungeon. That's the problem. I am going to make some more link crystals. Just really quick. Let me grab like a stack of that. And let me get... How many? 16. Sounds good. We're going to make 16 link crystals. That way we never have to do that again. Alright, so let's pop over... whoops, not over to here. Let's pop over to here and I'll just quickly show you the little kind of semi-automation setup that I did. It's nothing really fancy or anything, but it does the trick for what I need to. Because at this point I'm having to run, you know, 5 plates per heavy-duty plate. And so I wanted to set something up. It's basically just a gold chest. I can dump everything into here. And then it feeds into the item input, stuff runs, and then it dumps it into our refined storage system. Nothing fancy, but, you know, it's perfectly fine. It's good. So, anyways, I know it's about wrapping up point for this episode. This Crash Fest has come to an end for now. Right now, we are working on making the Tier 6 rocket. So this one right here will be the one that I'm working on. I'm going to try to get this prepped up. This will probably be made before next episode, I imagine. And then we've got Tier 7. Tier 8 is the one that we actually need to make the rocket engines for the creative items. This one takes zinc, which comes from Neptune. Right here, the Neptune zinc ore. And that is also where we get this advancement. We get this advancement. Both of these come from Neptune. And then we can also craft the creative jetpack. Now, we don't necessarily have to go any further into extra planets than that. And I will honestly say I don't know that we will. If we don't have to go into it, I probably won't, just because it's just a crash fest and it's not really enjoyable at this point. I mean, I can't even really do dungeons. I pretty much can land at the planet and go, look, recolors, and then that's it. You know, I can't really move around or it crashes the server, which is regrettable. So, I'm still going to try all the new planets as we come to them, which will be Uranus and Neptune, but I don't know that it doesn't seem promising when it crashes that often for the other ones. So, next episode when we come back. Oh, another thing I am going to try to do between episodes. Maybe between this episode and next, maybe the following one, I don't know. But I will try to go to Mars, run a dungeon or two, and get the Mars Rover schematic. So you guys have seen the dungeons, it's nothing special. But I need to try to get a Rover schematic from one of those. Because after we get that, and we hit Neptune, I mean, we'll pretty much be done with the Galacticraft section of this. And the main focus will be this. Next episode, when we come back, we're going to take a break from Galacticraft. This was very, very tiresome. Doing this recording, crashing the server as much as I was. So next episode, when we come back, we are going to craft the Creative Energy Cube. We're going to have to do a little bit of work next episode towards crafting that. We're going to have to start actually additions. We're going to have to get into making paper clips, and we're going to set it up for, you know, the modular machine multi-block, so that we can start making a bunch of paper clips. And then we might also do a little bit of cleanup, which will be that, and then jetpacks. We'll see. We'll see how much time we have. But we will definitely be working on and crafting the Creative Energy Cube. So we're kind of at a point right now, because like the following episode after that, we're going to craft the Creative Jetpack. We're going to go back into space. We're going to do the 2 remaining planets that we need to hit. And then we're going to come back, we're going to craft the Creative Jetpack. And so it's really going to be, at this point, it's going to be about every episode, maybe a couple, once we get into these, because we have to do a little bit, well, actually it'll probably be about every episode. Because actually, whenever I looked, I think I have enough obsidian and enough cobblestone already just in storage that we could craft the compressed stuff that we need. So it's probably going to be about every episode. We're going to come back and we're going to craft a creative item. So it'll be energy cube, jetpack, then it'll probably be, I don't know, fluid tank or air compressor, you know. But that's going to be the main focus of the rest of the series, is just finishing out, focusing these down. And then I'll do a bit of building between each episode to kind of wrap up the castle and stuff. Get it at least kind of a little bit nicer. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. I do apologize once again about the mishaps. It's kind of out of my control, but I do apologize. I feel bad about it because it's kind of frustrating. I know it is for me. It's probably for you guys to go, for us to go to those planets and not be able to actually experience them or really even semi-enjoy them. It's just crashing so much. But at least we found that new structure on Jupiter, which was kind of cool, I guess. But anyways, I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.